Questlove Supreme is a production of iHeartRadio.
Okay.
All right, people. Let's.
Word melts.
Oh, is that going to be loud? Ahmir,
do this.
okay?
No. Yeah, that's loud.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Can you turn that
Here we go.
Suprema, Suprema roll call. Suprema, Suprema roll call. Suprema, Suprema roll call. Suprema, Suprema roll call.
I reminisce.
Yeah.
With bliss.
Yeah.
All the QLS.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Greatest hits.
I was waiting for this all fucking year.
Wow. Oh my God. World premiere.
It's that mother is Jamaican.
Oh man, all the joys. Yes, sir. Suga Steve. Yes, sir.
Don't forget this one.
Don't get your black card revoked.
I mean, no place,
one.
child.
That's right.
No.
Yeah,
Card revoked.
I mean, no place, child.
Angry. So much anger.
Not to forget the all-time classic.
Oh, yeah.
So racially insensitive.
Maya.
So racially insensitive.
It was a different time.
It was a different.
Roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
My name is Phonte.
Yeah.
I have achieved it.
Yeah.
Last episode of QLS.
Yeah.
Man, I can't believe it.
Roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call.
My name is Suga.
Yeah.
The end is near.
Yeah.
Not just this podcast.
Yeah.
My whole career.
Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call.
I'm Unpaid Bill.
Yeah.
My bed is made.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me
Yeah.
on Black History Decade.
Roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call.
It's Laiya,
Yeah.
and it's just us.
Yeah.
Gonna write something?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just gonna bust.
Roll call. Suprema.
I'm glad we put enough
Roll
time.
call. Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call. Suprema. Suprema roll call.
Fucking Tales from
Wow.
the Latin Quarter. Come
Man,
on.
we hadn't heard that one in a
That's
minute.
we've not heard that in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Questlove Supreme. My name is Questlove. The de facto host of the show, the namesake of the show. We are here to celebrate. I do not want this to be a mournful episode,
Absolutely not.
No.
but Laiya's like ready to let it.
I am not. Don't blame me. I mean, it is an end of an era.
It's the end of an era.
So we
Yeah,
are
yeah.
celebrating, and it may get emotional because it's been a long journey.
We're allowed to be emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Let's
Sure.
let emotionals in. But actually, that to catch our viewership, that's funny. All right, so last night at dinner, I admitted that I've yet to watch one QLS on YouTube.
Oh.
So, I don't know if the scale has tipped to this being a podcast to this being a YouTube show. I don't know if we have more listeners or more viewers. So,
Oh, that's a good question.
can someone in
Cotton
this,
J, Brittany, what's
can,
the answer?
can someone in the studio
More
aha,
listeners?
see,
Here's more listeners. Okay, got it.
older audience, radio, still believe in radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our listenership, we've kind of have a quasi, even though we started mid of 2016,
2016, yep.
we've done 10 seasons of Questlove Supreme. And, so in my mind, it feels like 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a
I was
lot,
wondering your math.
Straight up.
I call it 10.
Okay.
yeah, might as well
Call
be
it
10.
10. Yeah, call it 10.
Round off.
Exactly. To be fully transparent with you loyal listeners out there, this is sort of officially the last episode of Questlove Supreme, which is so hard to say. Right.
Hey, man. Listen, it's a celebration. You know what I mean?
We are doing this like a TV show because, I was telling somebody earlier, I was like, in radio, you don't get to say goodbye. That's in TV where you do a finale.
I wonder about that. So when a person's doing their last episode of a show or whatever,
They
like
don't-
in radio, they don't let you say goodbye or give you flowers or anything.
I mean, unless you're leaving, but it's very rare that a person is like leaving and gets to say goodbye. It's because you got fired. So you get fired right after your shift.
So you're saying no one in radio leaves on their own will?
Most don't. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say most don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I think Tom Joyner might be the one that walked away. When you think about it, yeah.
All right. Well,
Howard Stern's still working.
we're officially but I doubt he's. Remember, he used to be controversial,
Right. Yeah, it's not.
and now he's like politically on our side of the fence, which is something I never thought
man.
would happen. Wow.
But Joe Rogan happened too. So
Exactly. All right. Joe Rogan sort of became the new Howard's. Wow. Okay, I didn't
Straight
think about that. Yeah. So to let our listeners know, we end the way we started, which is technically, I guess, episode 2 with
Bill Sherman.
with
guest.
guest Bill Sherman.
That was episode 1.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was one because
'Cause Maya's
Maya
two.
was 2. So
Maya
he
was 2.
one. Yeah.
Right. We just reversed it and gave you your coat. You're like Charlie Brown.
Thank you.
Not even the star of your own Halloween special.
Tracks.
and look at you since then.
Look at me.
A few more grays,
So
better weight.
Aged.
yeah, a lot has happened in these last air quote 10 years.
Man, listen.
Like the amount of children and spouses and comings and goings and us as a unit, a lot has happened. I guess Unpaid Bill. I will start with you.
Fuck. Let's do it.
What was your first musical memory?
I love it.
Oh, okay.
Because we never get to answer these questions.
Our own
so-
questions, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your first musical memory, Unpaid Bill?
I want to. So, being on this show for this long, I feel like everybody's like, I grew up in the church, and I did not grow up in any church
Sinner.
at all. And both my parents are doctors, which I've said before, and neither of them listened to much music. But what they did listen to, my dad was like a smooth jazz guy, and my mom listened to like Yo-Yo Ma and Mandy Patinkin.
Mandy Patinkin, he's
But-
an artist.
Yeah,
I know he
I
had
did not
albums.
know
I thought he
that.
was an
Inigo
actor.
Montoya is like a
Wait, time
major
out.
theater
That
artist.
Mandy Patinkin?
Yeah, yeah.
What?
How
The
many
Mandy Patinkin
Patinkins
that
you know?
walked in on us?
Yeah, that one.
Wow.
He was a recording artist?
He is a recording artist. He's like a big, like he was in all of Sondheim's musicals and stuff. He's like a big
Oh,
theater
wow.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know
and
this.
he's the the famous.
Wait, did you get to say this to him when he bursted in?
Well, I've known him for a while, so yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Look at you.
I mean it's not like that. Anyway, so my dad listened to a lot of smooth jazz and CD 101.9, which is no longer that station, but it was, and so
New York?
Yeah, and
Okay.
being in his car, and him, it would always, the car would turn on, and it would always be that. And then I later went on to like sort of try to hip him to some music, but he would always sort of put the dial back to, sadly, CD 101.9. Well, it depends on who you ask, but anyway,
CD 109?
CD
CD
101.9.
Oh, CD.
Yeah, in the days of CDs, remember that?
Oh, I thought you meant SEEDY, like questionable CD.
See, oh, yeah.
I mean, in retrospect, it might have been CD. No, yeah, that was the station.
So it was like the local yacht rock station.
Yeah, but it's mostly just like smooth jazz, like Sanborn and Richard Elliott and I don't know, like George Benson.
Ah, that smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Hiroshima.
Were the
Like the Yellow Jackets, that kind of shit.
Yamaha DX7
Yeah,
era.
yeah.
Yo, we
Dave
had no
Bruce.
idea that those were the good days of smooth jazz. Like now, in present day, it's like, oh, that shit boring. But
Where-
like, in retrospect,
Where
It's like
every
the Kenny G
saxophone
days.
player plays.
Yeah, and they all like circular breathe so they can hold the note forever. Yeah.
foreplay, man.
We'll play it.
All right, so what's the first record you ever purchased with your own money?
I think it was like Dexter Gordon something live something because I was a saxophone player growing up, right? We learned this really late in my evolution. I played the saxophone growing up. I was a big jazz head, and
Right.
I think the first thing I actually bought was a record because I used to put them on my walls. Was Dexter Gordon live at the whatever the hell it was, as I loved him.
He did a movie with I
Yes,
think Clint Eastwood produced it, not directed it, but
I think you're right. I do know what you're
called
talking about.
Round After Midnight, or it was
Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he acting in it, or do you?
I don't know.
Or it wasn't autobiographical. Wait, you're the jazz head.
Talking about Around Midnight?
Round Midnight.
Yeah, it's like about Dexter Gordon. Yeah.
There you go.
So it's his, and he was starring in his own.
No, I don't know if he was in it. I don't remember.
I think he was in it
I
because
know
that's
the
how I first
soundtrack,
heard
but
about him.
The soundtrack is kind of more legendary than the movie. I think.
Yeah.
Come on, QLS rabbit
Hank
hole.
Mobley,
So
Dexter
that's-
Gordon. Those are my guys.
Herbie Hancock did that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
And
Okay, so I remember on the Grammys when, it was Bob McFerrin and Herbie Hancock doing. Because I was wondering, why is this guy just singing? I was like, is he going to sing words? Is he just going to?
Nope.
Okay. Then, what is the first concert you attended?
Oh, James Taylor, Tilla Center. I fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
I was really young, and my dad took me, and he also fell asleep, and we both sort of fell asleep. I was like, I don't know.
But I've been to a
You
James
fell
Taylor show.
asleep?
That's a very soothing.
It was, yes,
concert.
it felt like
I
a
mean,
warm bath.
Another QLS guest, James Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the surprising guess for me. I didn't realize the amount of pain and depression. His music was the polar opposite of what his life was into. And so that is one episode that shocked me because I thought he was as sunny and happy as his music was, and here he is telling us about
Yeah, he should have been a comedian. He's so depressing.
yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking, Steve. That's based on our Chris Rock conversation.
And my other favorite person growing up was Dave Matthews, who we also interviewed on the show, and who
Wow.
has been one
Damn.
of my heroes my whole life because there was a saxophone player in the band. I thought that was so cool.
Dave played saxophone in the.
No, but Dave
They
had
had
a
a section,
band with
yeah.
a saxophone player in it, Leroy.
Oh, okay, that's what you meant. Okay,
Rest in
so
peace.
you were in of college age when Dave Matthews was
And the Roots.
taking the Roots back. Right, Dave Matthews and the Roots at colleges. Yes,
And I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but my senior year of college, the band that played my senior year concert was the Roots.
And this is at
Wesleyan.
Wesleyan
Yep.
University.
Like homecoming?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, they drove a bus onto this giant field. They all walked out.
Did they apologize to you guys that you weren't getting Raekwon and Ghostface, but you're getting the Roots instead?
No, but there is a classic story that Mos Def played at like our cafeteria, and like there was so many white kids that he like played for like 10 minutes and then got mad and left. That's a true story too.
Really?
Yeah.
He was shocked.
No, it
that-
wasn't Mos Def. I'm sorry, it was Talib Kweli. That's who it was.
That sounds right.
That sound.
Yeah, sorry, I fucked up.
No questions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is on the spot. What's the last album that you enjoyed from start to finish?
Fuck. That's a.
Do you know of one album that you listened to from start to finish?
When's
at
the
least?
last time anyone made an album that you did listen to from start to finish?
Doechii.
I mean, my kids are into Doechii. That record is great, and I did listen to the whole thing. That's true. There you go.
Okay,
That record's great.
we'll take Doechii. Who are your top 3 guests on the show?
Jesus. I was just thinking about this. I loved Lenny Kravitz because he smelled really good,
Yes.
and he sat right next to me.
Oh, he did.
And Lenny brought a few guests out in.
His chest?
No, someone else's, but they were very.
Oh, my.
I loved Lenny.
Yeah, the girls came out for
Yeah, the girls came out for
right. I
Lenny
forgot about
Kravitz.
that.
Yeah,
The girls are always kind of out.
I
Anyway,
mean, I ain't want to tell them, but thank you.
and I was looking at this paper. I love when we did Scarface in Nashville.
Man, listen.
Ooh.
In Austin.
Austin.
South
Yeah.
by Southwest.
Brad
Yes.
was super fun and awesome that day.
yes.
And then who was I'm thinking of? I like Jack White. I thought he was great.
Damn, I forgot.
Okay,
That was super fun. And
You're like answering.
that was 3.
and wait, I
That's
got
all
one more.
yours?
And my favorite one is the yet unreleased Dave Chappelle episode because in that
Talk
episode,
about it. Talk about it.
which was a wild night. But the best
very
part about
wild.
that night is. Okay, we're not talk about D'Angelo came and showed up to the recording, and he sat down next to me and he introduced himself to me, and I thought that was like the funniest fucking thing I've ever all the people
So
in the room
D'Angelo
was like,
was on
"Hi, I'm
cue.
Yeah,
D'Angelo."
one quote.
and I was like, "Hi."
It's more
It's
R&B.
more R&B.
Yes, yeah.
It's more R&B.
Yeah.
That was
That was a great moment. He also smelled good. So anyway, there you go.
Okay. What would be an underrated episode in your opinion?
Jesus, I feel like
Ooh.
underrated.
I know we all think that. I think we would collectively agree that Jimmy Jam's episode was the sort of quintessential QLS episode.
Yeah.
But I almost feel that we don't give much respect for the babyface.
I was just about to say that. How
man.
did you do that to me?
Man.
That was
Yeah.
literally what I was thinking. Oh my
That
god.
baby face up was crazy.
That baby face up was crazy. And we were tight and it was sweaty. It was like
Yeah.
Exactly.
I also think like the ones that we did early on in the rehearsal room, the Roots rehearsal room, was always like an interesting.
De La Soul.
De La Soul, my Rudolph, because we ate a lot of.
We had
chicken.
Korean fried chicken. Yes, indeed.
That's
And
right.
it was like, if you think it's tight in here, it was like real tight in there. And it
Turntable
was
chicken.
so fun.
Yeah.
Turntable chicken.
It smelled bad. It was great.
All right. So, Laiya.
I'm gonna do this, but I have a whole, I got a library, so I can remember the answers to your questions through my my library of photos.
Okay.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
So, what is your first musical memory in life?
Damn, I know I should have been ready for this. First music memory in life, just dancing in my living room, listening to my parents' records, to Brenda Russell and Angela Bofill and Teddy Pendergrass. When I was little, that was it for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember the very first record that you purchased with your own money?
I think so. I think that was in Japan on spring break. I bought Moni Love, Alyssa Milano, and the New Jack City soundtrack.
Alyssa Milano had an album?
Yes, she did. I was a very big fan of Alyssa Milano.
Okay.
No judgment.
Yeah.
Wait, time out. Laiya.
Right. It's on random. Yeah. Alyssa Milano had an album? I didn't know that.
She did.
Okay.
Did. She was a big star to some of us, especially if you
Grew up watching.
Tiger
You were of
Beat.
age.
How was the album though?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So great.
Right.
It was awesome.
But that New Jack City album though,
Oh, yeah, I
that
had
shit,
that.
that
I hear
bangs.
ya.
That bangs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm still.
I didn't know she had a
Milano?
record.
I think that's the episode, man.
And you bought it in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, that's-
Why were you in Japan?
Cause my mother was a flight attendant for 43 years, and she's one of the flight attendants that started the Japan flights, the United to Tokyo, to Narita flights. So one year she was like, she met a friend there, and she was like, "You gonna go stay there for spring break with my friend and her son?" And that's what I did.
Shit.
When I was 12.
Okay. Do you remember the very first concert you attended?
I think I remember the one that I cared about because as a kid I was always taking to concerts, especially because my cousin played drums for Stevie Wonder. But the one that I remember was Bad.
Wow, you got to see the Bad tour.
Yeah.
Man.
That didn't even come to Philadelphia. I was so angry at that. You saw it in New York or?
In Maryland at the Capitol Center.
That's right. You're not a Philadelphian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it came to
Crow.
Maryland and not Philadelphia? Feels like a diss.
Well, no.
Why didn't it come to Philly? That's weird.
I don't know. It's weird. It could have been local promotions. I mean, now of course, like Live Nation, like everything's nationalized. But back in the '80s, things were regional. But Philly was always getting the short end of the stick. I actually have a sound check of. So Prince does the Purple Rain show Thanksgiving of '84 in Philly. And there's a moment when he's sound checking where he's like, I hate Philly. And so it was like all the other sound checks, he's like happy to be alive, whatever. And here it was just like, I hate Philly. On the PA system. So yeah. Thanks, Prince. I appreciate that. What is the last album, or you already said Doechii, but
Yeah, I'm all in on her. You know what, her?
multiple listens, like you.
Multiple listens, but also, who y'all got me into, and I'm glad I did when I did, was Salt. Because now, of course, everybody is going to see
Cleo
wherever she appears in whatever city. So, yeah, I've been listening to them a lot, too.
Okay. And who are your top 3 guests on this show?
I'm going to say, you mean shows, like good conversations?
Yeah, your 3 favorite QLS.
I'm gonna do a random one because she's my favorite because I feel like there was more to talk about, and she stays in my head, and that's Heather Hunter. Mm-hmm. Heather Hunter was one of my favorites.
I'm really so pissed that I missed that one. I had so many
didn't know
questions.
you missed
I had
that.
so many questions for
That was cool.
I was about to go all in, full eye contact, giving all the Heather Hunter. Anyways, please continue.
There's a
Right.
part 2 to that conversation. I always felt like just me and her. But that's the whole thing. Solange, especially off the heels of that Saturday Night Live, and that Bill Murray shiznit. And Quincy Jones, man. sitting on his couch,
Talk
In
about
the
it.
crib. Like
talking
in
about.
his crib.
I mean, it was uncomfortable at times because, he did talk about my toes a lot. But
And he also talked about your astrological sign.
yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call
Sitting
it.
in
And I'm on the
crib.
corner like, I'm an Aquarian too.
You ain't got them toes.
Get your feet out of here, boy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, even in the video I got of him, he like them toes. I'm like, Lord Jesus.
Oh, those toes, man.
But
We are the
Wait,
toes.
wait,
That's the toe.
That was it.
That was
wait,
like-
can I ask
those
something?
toes, man.
Does he always he always sounded to me like someone imitating Sammy Davis Jr.
Right.
Always with a cough drop in his mouth, like he always had a sort of a cough droppy thing. But yes, you
That
nailed
was
it.
legendary, man.
The toes.
yeah, I think we should just. It's a hard thing to just narrow it down to 3, but I understand that's what we got to do. But I'm looking at all these pictures, all these moments, and I'm like, "Ugh."
Do we physically have that Quincy Jones episode?
Well, we just
Jake?
Steve.
Okay, never mind.
But we do know somebody has it though, right? Don't we all?
We got episodes being held hostage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we got a few episodes of being held hostage.
That episode went straight to the Toe Museum.
Quincy is held hostage. Now Rogers, where you at? Held hostage.
Oh,
Damn,
Rogers,
we
I
did
forgot about
interview
We had,
Nile
yeah,
Rodgers.
it was just one
It was so
part.
short,
It
though.
was short, yeah.
It stopped at Rapper's Delight.
And there was one more I can't remember. What's the other one that was held hostage?
De La Soul.
Yep.
Daylight, we only, because we had, Maceo wasn't there. It was just Potts and Dave. And
we did
it was right after Anonymous Nobody had dropped.
Right.
And,
Oh,
yeah.
it was Dave and Paz.
I would just
Wow.
also like to throw in a mention, an honorable mention, because nobody's done this and it needs to be mentioned. The Revolution. What
yeah,
we
listen,
did with the Revolution
listen.
in
Episode
Minneapolis.
4, yeah.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Minneapolis.
I'm just
Watching
saying.
you DJ at the Fifth Avenue.
Yeah,
was
7th.
one of the cool.
That was magic.
You,
I
that was
enjoyed
one
it.
of the best
I remember
nights
that
of my
night.
life.
Nah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
But when they sang "Sometimes It's Snow in April," I had to walk outside.
Yeah, you
Like,
did. I remember.
yeah, that was.
And Maya Rudolph at that event.
Yeah,
Like,
she
that was
was
just.
My Rudolph was there, and I remember, they did Sometimes It Snows in April. Crazy enough, I wasn't really like that. Wasn't the one that got me. Like I was watching that cool. When you played "Come Home," I don't know what it is about that song. It
You
was
know
just-
what? That is a sleeper Prince song. That
Yeah.
no one.
Man, you played that one, and that was around the time too. That was literally like days after my dad had died, and so that night at the Revolution, that was just the I never forget that because it was right when I needed it. Because like my dad had just died, and that's Boss Bill was still here, and he was having like the time of his
He was
life.
having a joy-filled
You know what
moment
I
that
mean?
we had never experienced in
Ever.
none of our
Ever. I
lives.
was like, I've never seen
need
him
to
this
know
happy
what-
in my life. Right. Shouts to my brother Boss Bill, man. But yeah, so but nah, Revolution, that was epic shit. That was dope.
You're right.
in a conference room.
Actually, we also interviewed probably our most eye-opening Prince interview. We never got to air, which was Robbie, his assistant.
Oh, right. We didn't air it?
If there was such a thing as T back then,
Oh,
that
wow.
would have been the episode. I mean, Robbie basically spoke of being Prince's valet, his Jerome from like '83 to bringing up pianos on cranes into his suite.
Yep.
Oh shit.
He was real with it. All I know was that the higher ups at Pandora, whoever was it, Scott? Shout out to Scott. Hello.
Yeah, Scott Riggs.
Was like, maybe we shouldn't air this one. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But I forgot that Robbie,
forgot it.
Prince's valet, also got interviewed, and we never focused on that one. Suga Steve, what is your first musical memory?
First musical memory, I mean, there's a lot of AM radio things I could say, and early tape recorders I had, things like that, with my sister singing. But my mom had an acoustic guitar in the house, and she was playing John Denver songs. That's, I think, sort of my first actual musical memory.
Your mom plays guitar?
No, she was just faking it. But I didn't know. I didn't know any better at the time. I was like, she's incredible.
Okay. What is? Well, I should know based on Steve in our thread chat posted a photo of him. How many Bay City
just a lot
Roller
of Bay City
albums
Rollers.
do you own?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
How many Prince albums you own?
Yeah, but I don't own multiple. Like,
Yes, you do.
We've seen them.
I'm a DJ though. I'm allowed to have doubles.
Right.
What's your excuse?
Oh well, I mean,
You have like
I'm a Wonderama generation person, as some of us are here.
so every Bay City Roller album you see, you just cop it.
Of that specific one, yeah, that first American one with Saturday Night on it is kind of the
Oh,
one
so
with
it
the
has to be a
plaid.
very specific.
Yeah, it's really just that one album that I'm obsessed with.
Steve, can I ask, what's the Bay City song that I would really know and love?
SATUYDAY. Night.
Saturday Night.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they were just the
They were
first.
the One Direction of the 70s.
Yeah. And they were, and that's kind of that's kind of my first concert too. Not the Bay City Rollers, but Bob McAllister. He would go around and do like these little concerts for kids.
So he was the Justin of the NSYNC of.
No, Bob McAllister was the host of Wonderama. He was like an old.
Oh.
He was like the
So-
the Soul Train guy.
So Bay City Rollers were the Shalimar of Wonderama.
Yes, exactly.
Shalimar
exactly.
being the group
So
that was manufactured from Soul Train.
Well, they weren't manufactured for or by Wonderama, but yeah, they were kind of the
Okay, I
Yeah.
get it now. All right.
kind of the symbol almost at that
What,
time.
what network
76.
did Wonderama come on? I know the logo, but I just.
I keep thinking of
It's
the Wonder
13,
Wheel.
isn't it? Isn't
No,
it
that's
like
different.
PBS. It's not PBS.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know.
See, I only remember Kids Are People too, but I don't.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
they
that's
before
why
my time.
McAllister would go tour the country just singing that song over and over again everywhere. But
Yeah.
my first real concert was Billy Joel at the Garden,
Ooh.
'84. The
Nice.
Innocent
Oh.
Man tour.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
In his prime, Joe. Okay.
Uptown Girl Town.
You know, I picked. I told you that. Oh, I was complaining to you all night. I chose the one Billy Joel show in which he decided not to do any hits.
Oh my God.
It was his birthday. He had the residency at
Madison.
Madison Square Garden, and so he was like, for his birthday, I'm gonna gift you, the fans, all the B-sides and the deep cuts.
Oh wow.
And literally, I mean, everyone's losing their minds because he's like, it's like, oh my gosh, open with the Erotic City. Like, I mean, like, he's doing like the deep stuff. And, I just sat there like waiting for.
Start the
Piano
fire
Man.
or something.
Actually, that was the one time we didn't start the fire. And everyone's laughing because I guess. Maybe,
Worst song ever.
yeah, real Billy Joel fans,
Yeah, they didn't like it.
they don't rock with that song.
I had to do a report on that song in like fifth grade.
So,
oh yeah.
Why is it?
Oh yeah. All the historical references in it. Like,
It's
we
just-
had to. Yeah, we had to find out like what it was and look it up. And
I think if a song gets too...
Is it too rappy?
It's too ubiquitous, like, if a song gets too big where, like, your science teacher knows the song or
Yeah.
your pastor, your church knows it, then that's when the backlash
it's not cool
starts.
no
Is that
more.
it, Steve? That's
Like,
it?
everyone had Thriller,
It's
so
just,
then...
it's not a song. It's a list of fucking names. It's not a
But you don't think that it's rather...
rather shitty. Yes, I do.
Why do you think it's shitty? All right, here's
How do you
the
really
thing.
feel, Steve?
Yeah, tell us how you really
Don't
feel.
get me
Now-
started.
No. I'm
mean,
just
that
saying
hook, Steve, the
because
hook.
this is a question that I will get to later, which is basically how have your music taste changed from 2015 to now in 2025. I will be the one to admit that I'm quick to dismiss something that I think a common person would like because I think that we choose our music based on like
Snobbery.
like, oh, they like that. Well, I'm better than them, so I'm gonna pick the obscure band. But once I realized that it's hard as hell to write a good pop song,
Listen.
then
Yeah.
I respect the game.
Okay.
Actually, I learned it at Ann Juliet, like boss
Good place to learn.
Unpaid
That's
Bills
what I was thinking about
play.
too. And Juliet.
But for you,
Now, here's the melody. Da 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 da
Easy
da
as shit.
da 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 da
that's
da
genius.
da 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 da.
That's easy.
No, it's a
And then it goes
fucking
slow
nursery
in the
rhyme.
hook.
It's not.
Oh my God. Okay. Come
on.
All right. It ain't Uptown Girl.
I mean,
You're
I'm
right,
not.
you're right.
And then the next song he did was in the middle of the night, which
Right, which is
fun fact.
Remember?
In the middle of the night.
In
It
the
was
middle
like,
of the night, I
yeah,
hear
that
my
one.
sleep, I
His-
keep-
I didn't realize that was Billy
his
Joel.
Awema Way
Yeah.
is
Right.
his updated version. Fun fact though, my first month working at Rough House Records, Joe Nicolo produced it. Cause I
the
guess I think the backstory is, and that's, I'm sorry, Joe Nicolo. I apologize if there's one besides Arthur Baker, another luminary that has been always in my DMs. Like, when am I going to get my turn to tell my story?
Especially after we had Chris. I know he like.
He definitely wanted to get on the show. Sorry, apologies. But he, at the time, he was the go-to producer dude for half a second. So I guess Joe Nicolo would add a lot of break beats under his rock stuff, which kind of 91, 92 really wasn't a thing. So him looping the funkadelic, good old music drum break in that song kind of,
It was a dog whistle for hip-hop heads.
For those that are wondering, in 1992, how do I avoid the unsung and then hip-hop came
right.
syndrome?
Just embrace it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what can I do? Okay, I'll put a breakbeat in. Anyway, so I got to see at least the first day of him looping that in the drum machine for Billy Joel. I didn't get to see Billy Joel, but so who are your top 3 guests on the show?
Well, I'd have to look at the list to really answer this question.
Well, just answer from
Feel
your
it
heart.
out.
Like,
Feel it out.
I am. I'm going to.
okay.
One non-jazz, Steve. Do one non-jazz person.
Well, he didn't do any. We didn't mention any jazz artists.
He hasn't yet.
I mean, for obvious reasons, Costello.
That's a classic episode.
The one-on-one or
I'm glad
2-on-1 with Costello. What's so funny?
Because your one-on-one is one of your classic episodes.
Well, it was epic, and
It
it
was.
was a two-parter, and it was like a once-in-a-lifetime
For a
thing.
Costello fan, they definitely appreciated you asking the questions that no journalist has ever asked them.
Yeah, it was.
That was a classic
incredible.
one. Yes.
And well, my Nick Lowe one, my one-on-one with Nick Lowe was pretty special as well.
It was.
And the ones we did at Electric Lady, Roy Ayers, because he had recorded so many records there, and I thought that was super special. And Herb Alpert, I liked also.
That was a great
at
episode.
Electric Lady.
Yes. All right, Phonte.
Yes, sir.
Your first musical memory.
First musical memory.
And the first record I bought with my own money.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
First musical memory. I guess I would say this was in my grandmother's house. Me and my mom, because we stayed with my grandparents, and so my mother just always played music, and she had a copy of "Thankful" by Natalie Cole, which is like
Wow.
this
With
would've
La
been
Costa on it.
the one. Look, my man. So she had that, and that record is just like a direct portal to my childhood. Like, I just remember like picking it up, and like the texture of it, it feels like a painting. It's not like a regular joint.
Even the album cover felt.
Yeah, exactly. You feel
wow.
like textures, kind of ridges in it.
Yes.
It was like a painting of her, and I just remember that, and just seeing the red label on Capitol just spin around. So my mother would always just play that record. She would also play, for some reason, I don't know why she loved this song so much, but Love Jones by Johnny Guitar Watson. We had a 45 of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we would be, cleaning up on Saturday mornings and just playing music, and that was the kind of stuff we listened to.
I gotta say, if there's ever a fuzzy memory I have of my childhood, it's hearing I think my dad picked me up on a snow day, and back when snow days were special, when the teachers are like, "Okay, kids, you're going home early today," and it was like, especially if it's like 10:30, like you get home,
You got a whole day.
right when Price is Right and cartoons come on or whatever. And so driving home in a snowstorm, La Costa's more or less like a tropical sounding record. But for me, it's a winter, like whatever you think of like a good Christmas or like the winter thing. That's
what you associate with it.
Every time I hear that song, if I want to think of my dad in a nice way,
Wow.
it's just us driving home, sharing a stale cheese Danish, listening to La Costa on the 8-track.
On the 8-track. Oh, man.
And the thing is, because I was born in the early 70s and really familiar with 8-tracks, occasionally the song would have to fade
Oh, yeah.
and then come back in. And always on that bridge, it would fade out. So even to this day,
It's fair use right here.
Yeah, that's my favorite Natalie Cole album. That's probably my favorite Natalie Cole song, without question.
There's actually a hip, if you're familiar. Okay, Laiya.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
I have to remember what y'all were talking about. Y'all be just throwing out titles like we remember the titles. I need a ditty.
Yeah. So they gave Natalie Cole a summer special, like a one-off variety show with Earth, Wind, and Fire as her guest. But she does her collaborator that wrote that, another young lady that wrote that song. Like they do.
Yeah.
If you look at them on YouTube, look at Natalie Cole La Costa live on her 1977 special.
Oh,
like,
wow.
That shit kicks ass.
Okay,
Like,
I gotta
it's
check
amazing.
that. I didn't know she ever did it live. Yeah, that record, I mean, it was never like a single, and I don't think, but that was just always just a record that just spoke to me. It just takes me directly back to childhood.
Yeah.
So those are probably my earliest musical memories. Just my mother playing records, going to my aunt's house and playing records. My aunt Belinda, she had a turntable, and she just had like all her records in her apartment and stuff. Whenever, we have spades night or whatever,
Right.
She would let me DJ the parties. And so that was how I learned records. Like,
Music.
so that was how I learned music. Like, just seeing, okay, I see the guy's name on the cover, but the guy in the parentheses, that's who wrote the song, and he gets paid even when the guy on the cover dies. So I want to be that guy. Like, that was I want to be the guy in the parentheses. You know what I mean? So I was probably like 7, 7, 8, you know what I'm saying? But I would just play. I learned like how, if you don't know a record, like just kind of my rule of thumb, if it's a record you don't know, your best bet is either the first song on side A or the first song on side B, because that's
their strong offering.
Right.
that's their best one. So so I Strawberry Letter 23 right on time.
Right, exactly.
So that was kind of how I learned just records and playing and learning how to read the crowd. So like I knew as long as everybody is talking and having a good time, I'm playing something, then it's cool. If you play something and they get
look
quiet,
at you,
they get quiet, they look or whatever, then it's like, all right, you drop some bullshit. so I was maybe like
hostile environment.
Exactly. So I was probably like 7, 8. So, it's around that time. But I would always just play kind of those records, and that was it.
Now it's weird that you made that observation at 7, because mine was the exact opposite, because of my father always. He and I binge shopping records.
Yeah.
The process is always, he would go to the record store and the guy behind the counter is like, all right, you need this, that. When he saw my dad, he already knew. All right, Mr. Lee, here are your records. And he would just gather a bunch of 45s or whatever, get a bunch of records and give it to my dad. The bill comes to $300, but it's 1978 or whatever.
So that's like $3,000.
Right. So literally, I'm carrying the box of 45s. He's carrying the LPs. We would go to rehearsal. And, of course, my dad's band would rummage through what they want. Okay, we'll take Ohio players. We'll take So I would get to own the records not chosen.
The leftovers, the left behind.
And it's usually the flops.
Okay.
But because I'm 6 and 7, I don't know any better.
You don't know it's a flop.
So I will say the first 10 years of my life was loving nothing but the flops.
But I can see as a DJ that becomes kind of a superpower, because you're looking where no one else is. Like, you can still find stuff on them records that like.
But to this day, it makes me not like. I never liked the hit single, which I mean, again, I feel like Stevie Wonder is more defined by Pastimes. I mean, that doesn't count because Coolio sampled it, but that wasn't a single.
Right.
Yeah, like for me, it was always the filler and the flop song that attracted me, and whatever. Like, I had Steve syndrome as a kid. Like, if it was Love Roller Coaster, I didn't like that. But
Okay.
If it was Fop,
Oh yeah,
that was my shit. Right, exactly. That was my shit. What was the first concert you ever went to?
First concert I ever went to, it was the Fresh Fest. This would have been 1985, 6, something like that. This is Greensboro Coliseum.
Shit.
And this was my Uncle Brod. He took me. It was Fat Boys, Run DMC, Houdini. And that was the first time I really saw. I just remember seeing Run DMC.
Who won that night? I feel like the Fat Boys might have won.
The Fat Boys, they went off. I remember that. My uncle actually bought me a Fat Boys sweatshirt that night. Yeah, I mean, he did it on the low.
Please tell me you still have it.
I don't have it. I wish I would have kept it, man. But nah, I don't have it. He had took me out one night. It was him and me, and he had this girl he was seeing and her kids. You know what I mean? And so we all went. And so afterwards, like, he dropped them off. And then we went in the car, and he was like, "Look, I got you this." And he got me a sweatshirt. You know, he couldn't afford to buy for
Everyone
everybody.
else, he couldn't flex.
He couldn't flex. So I was like, "Hey, I appreciate it." But yeah, that was my first show, and I just remember seeing that, and that was definitely the line in the sand of like, okay, Luther and Patty is my mama's music, but this is my music. You know what I'm saying? I guess this was like I was in first grade, so I might have been, around the same time, like 6, 7, something like that.
Damn, man. I want to know what that feels like to witness hip hop at a young age. Even though I was 9, I still feel like I'm the elder statesman when Rappers Delight came out. But for you, you're like,
I was
born in it.
Yeah. It was So
Well,
Rappers
you were born in
Delight.
79,
I was
right?
born in 78.
So you were one when you're right, exactly.
Yeah, bro. So man, that was my first concert, and that was the first time I saw I was like, I could see. I didn't know even like wanting to do this, like what that meant, but it was just something in the music that spoke to me, and I was just like, yeah, this is me. This is my side of the street.
All right, so what's the last album you enjoyed from start to finish?
Man, last album I enjoyed from start to finish, actually just been back on my vinyl shit, man. I think the last record I bought, I just think of off the top, Swing Out Sister is Better to Travel.
That's why you're doing that on your IG.
I was
wondering.
I be in the crib. I just be in the crib playing records. I'm just like, all right, this is what I'm listening to now, and I just throw it up.
And it's harder to skip or whatever if it's on vinyl. You gotta let it play.
You gotta listen to it.
You also got like a whole thing, Phonte. You was like, because if it's new to me, it's new. That's what he said to me last week.
Yeah.
If it's new to me, it's new.
Yeah, it's not, now, the one thing I will say was good about just the internet and kind of everything streaming and all that is that it really erased, there's no such thing anymore as new music or old music. It's just stuff you know and stuff you don't. So if it's a song that came out in 72 or it's a song that came out yesterday, if I'm hearing it for the first time, that's a new song to me. You know what I mean? So that was one of the ones, that Swing Out Sister record. I knew Breakout.
Right.
And I knew like Surrender, but I'd never heard the whole album.
Can we now say that Twilight World is the best song that Sade never got to record?
Dog, let's talk about it. Yo. Man, that record, if you see it out anywhere, like if you
Twilight World.
Swing Out, so it's the first album. No, it's their first. It's Better to Travel's name.
Yeah, their first album. Yeah,
that joint is fire. End to end.
Yeah, if you had a Sade Jones and couldn't wait for an entire 4 years for her to get the next record ready, that's how I let Swing Out Sister in my life. Actually, Twilight World's another one. Like when I want to think of like high school. 10th grade or whatever, like, you calling a joint up or whatever, like, this is Laiya auditioning Twilight World. Do you not know this song?
Not until I heard. Sometimes I gotta hear it. Y'all say these titles, and I'm like, this sounds like record. Soundtrack of our lives. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, that whole record is
yes.
Amazing. So yeah, I think that's the last. I think that's one of the ones I caught just in terms of full length, because I mostly caught 12 inches for the most part. But there's a record. Manolo Badrina, you probably know this, Steve, I'm sure. Manolo Badrina, he's like a percussionist guy. He used to be with Weather Report. He had a record that came out on A&M in 80, I want to say. 81. It's just called Manolo. That shit is crazy. Like, it's produced by, Herb Alpert produced it. And,
Manolo?
Yeah, Manolo. It's just called Manolo. It's not on streaming. It's just
thanks.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I found Manolo. Okay, so it's not Spanish in any type of way.
Nah, it's not. I mean, it's Latin jazz, but the first side is like crazy, and then the second side he kind of but the side A is fucking fire. But that was just another musical discovery I found. I was like, oh, this shit is crazy.
All right, who are your top 3 guests?
Man, top 3 guests. I gotta say. Oh man, this is tough.
Yeah,
no matter how I think about it, it's tough. Man, I want to say I really enjoyed the Dungeon Family episode. Like
we did
Dungeon
that.
Family.
Oh yes, we did.
Rico.
We got Rico. God rest his soul. Man, their music. And I was thankful I got to give them flowers. I'm like, yo, bro, y'all music really got me through some shit.
All right.
You know what I mean? And just coming from the South and seeing Dungeon Family, just that collective. What they were doing, you know what I mean? And, that just opened up a whole new world for us. So definitely Dungeon Fam. I would say, LL Cool J. Like LL. LL was in He was in rare form.
He put on lip gloss.
You know what I mean? He's like, yo, I'm done playing detective, Pete. I'm done playing detective. That was great. And man, let me see. For my last one, 3, I would probably go. You know, man, I'll go with the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah,
I go with the Pointer Sisters.
Yes.
That was my first time seeing them, and crazy enough, like I had actually heard for the first time, I bought that record, the Pointer Sisters, the self-titled, their debut.
Right.
Because I had never heard the whole. I mean, I knew Can, but I had never heard the whole album. And stylistically, the album is kind of all over the place.
Yes.
But vocally, they are singing the fuck out.
They're
of this
immaculate.
shit. Oh my god.
On Can.
Their
The
version,
whole album. That
their
album.
version of
River Boulevard is hard. Yeah.
Cloudburst.
Cloudburst. Man.
Covering Lambert, Kendricks, and Ross.
Yeah.
Cloudburst. Yes.
Nah, that shit is a vocal masterclass. So I was really thankful that we got a chance to meet them, Bonnie Pointer and Ruth Pointer, and just give them their flowers. That was an amazing episode.
Yep, it was. Actually, I'll ask you guys collectively. What is like our underrated episodes? What is the
Faith Newman.
No, I will say that's a disappointing episode. If we will collectively say that maybe Faith's episode lacked, and I'm almost certain it's because she knew too much. So, what did you order for lunch at Def Jam?
Yeah.
But her and the old girl that directed Detroit, I was like, that was kind of
Catherine
Bigelow.
Bigelow. Catherine Bigelow. Yeah. Underrated, man. I thought a Leroy Burgess episode, I was really glad we got him. That was kind of underrated for me. He was like just an unsung architect of, black music in, the late 70s post-disco period. And that was one of my top.
Yeah.
I thought we were underrated on.
I'm going to shout out George Faison just because it might not be appreciated in this moment, but that's going to be a part of a historical story. There's not a lot of black dance, oral history.
I gotta say, his part of what is now will eventually be the Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary.
Yeah.
He was very clear and concise, and he's a major part of that story.
Good.
And seeing Jesus Christ, like all the footage on him in his prime.
Yeah.
Him giving instructions and all that stuff. Like there's a lot of dance rehearsals and the way that he instructs. So I have a absolute respect for his work.
I loved Q-Tip. I thought we had so much. He was so into music as much as we were.
Right.
I thought that was so.
He got us hyped too.
Yeah, and he was like, it was like we were at his bar mitzvah. It was
And
You know what I'm
finally we got to figure out, or the internet finally got to see what the Crooklyn sample was. So, and it was on EMC Records. That much we do know.
ECM.
ECM.
It was an ECM record. Okay, yeah.
Yes, it was on ECM.
Can I just say those recordings that we did at where were we at?
Tupac
A&M?
Central.
No, A&M. I was about to say L.A. When we were at
Village Sound.
Jim Henson? Where we-
Yeah.
Oh, Henson.
Yeah, those are cool.
Seda Garrett. wasn't it?
Sadie Garrett.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan.
Oh, right.
Shaka, yeah. She wasn't at that studio, but
Dion
Patrice
Cole.
Russian. We had Patrice.
So that's a different studio.
That was a
you're
different studio.
talking
That's right. It
about.
was a different studio.
What
Dion.
Bill is talking about is right. Dion Cole.
Yeah, at Henson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Henson. Yeah, Dion Cole.
We had some
Shaka.
dope studios.
Shout out to it was
Oh, John
shut
Mayer.
down. Mayor,
Oh, wow.
Mayor purchased it. I will also say that for me, my first musical memory is, we all found out that I had a fear of music modulations because I gotten a second-degree burn on my leg running in the house and slipped on the radiator right when Curtis Mayfield changes the key and Freddie's Dead to the higher key.
Yeah.
Right. Sold, which probably also subconsciously. I'm sorry. It's all right. Okay.
I didn't know you had a fear about. Yo, if you have a
What a
fear of
whack
modulations, I have. This
with the
song for
exception
you.
of Gold,
Yeah.
with the exception of Golden Lady.
Oh yeah, okay,
Going
yeah,
up.
that does go at the end. Are you up
Human
on
Nature?
You up on Ish? Don't stop.
Ish don't stop.
It's a TK. It's on TK Disco. It's a disco record.
No, I'm
It's
not. I'm not
Ish
hit that.
Don't Stop. That song modulates like 80 times at the end. It's like a long disco joint, and it just keeps going up. This shit is hilarious.
So people modulate for like dramatic
A big
effect.
sweeping, yeah.
What's the Michael Jackson tune, man? I mean, like that one.
Hang on.
That modulates every 8 minutes.
What song?
Marry me like the river Jordan.
Oh, Will You Be There?
Yeah, and then
Will You
and
Be
then-
There?
Okay, but that song is so Lion King'd out.
100%.
It doesn't feel scary to me. So here's the
like
thing.
a sensory overload to modulation. It's
So the
fucking
thing
awesome.
is that now this came out when I was one. So this burning accident happened when I was 3. And I'm on my back. They're trying to butter my leg or something.
And how did you burn yourself? Like, what was the
Butter.
radiator?
I can't believe we did
so
butter.
I know, and you shouldn't do that. Yeah, we used to do that all the time.
Butter, ginger ale.
Oh yeah, butter. Yeah, butter.
for sure. I never heard
Ginger
butter.
Are you sure they
I've
were
never
buttering
heard-
you up to like help you, or butter you up to like? Yeah.
So I guess it was a black thing.
Nah, that was about we used. But if I burn
Yes.
your hand, they put butter on it. Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
according to my sister, I just got out the bathtub, drying me off, and I was running, and we were staying in Compton because my parents were recording
The Congress
what would
Alley
be
record?
the Congress Alley record.
Gotcha.
So my grandmother lived in Compton, and I ran past the front door of my grandmother's house, and I guess there's a kind of like a slippery rug thing. I slipped on the rug, and I guess I landed, and my entire right leg just hit the radiator, and the radiator was on at least a trillion.
Yeah.
And
tracks.
blood was out and everything, and I'm screaming. They're putting oil all over my leg, and all I can hear
This is like some
This-
PTSD shit.
Total PTSD.
But literally, when this part happens,
Oh,
and this part,
Did it creep you out?
like that is like the boogie.
I can hear that. It sounds like the Wiz. It sounds like the
I
Russians
think it sounds like the subway scene in the Ridge, like when the guy. Yeah.
Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. That's
Oh
creepy.
my
Right.
God.
See, when you hear,
Yeah, no. That is
it's
core memory.
It's
core
a
memory.
trigger, right? It's a
It
trigger.
is.
Core memory.
Another one is
We can't be asking Ahmir all these questions. Y'all know that, right? We ain't gonna finish.
Oh, you already know it's a 2 episode.
yeah,
Water.
yeah, at least.
Now this is weird. I finally worked with Bill Summers,
Oh yeah.
and he basically got small bottles and would just basically.
Wow.
So that's how he would do that. All right, in this particular case, probably.
Remember when we filmed a commercial?
We
I have
filmed a
it in
commercial,
here. I
yeah.
have it
We
behind
filmed a
the
commercial
scenes in here.
with
With
Michelle Gondry.
And
That was the
Ahmir
fucking
in full
weirdest
rig.
thing. Remember the little...
Okay. So first of all, Aretha Franklin's "I'm in Love"
We're still on his first question.
Okay.
starts very spooky to me. The way that R.F. Martin would add extra reverb on her voice, this too would scare the shit out of me. Right here. So I already feel like she's being pushed off a mountainside.
The long tail reverb. Oh my God.
Fair use, fair use, fair use. Do y'all remember when we could use music back in the Pandora days? Like we could actually do this? Like,
I still don't understand how iHeart is the most powerful radio conglomerate in
And
the
you
world.
can't use music.
And we can barely use
they ain't
music.
trying to pay
We are
that whiz
burning
off.
this motherfucker to the ground right now. Here we go. What else?
What
Come
about
on now.
Right.
what about your Hall & Oates? That's the most famous.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Also a
fucking
great
She's
episode.
Gone.
Yeah, you ever want to
Oh,
scare
she's
this
gone.
guy?
She's gone. Oh wow.
Just-
Remember when homie just had like one lamp in the background?
No, I'm not talking about interviewing.
Oh.
them.
You
I'm
about the
talking
song.
about the song that.
No, we
that
broke them up,
has
though, Bill.
modulation.
We
broke-
did. We
broke them
absolutely
up.
did.
We did.
We did not break up Hall & Oates.
Wait, why the hell? I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
We can neither confirm nor deny that we broke up Harlem. But you remember he had like one lamp behind him?
Yes.
I remember that,
It was
yeah.
very dark.
Really spooky.
And you couldn't think it couldn't get no darker. He come Mariah Carey.
So, and probably the song that scared the bejesus out of me the most. This is the #1 modulation.
What was the question?
And now the #1 modulation that scared the shit out of Questlove.
This is
Number
his music
one, number
memory
one.
question.
Oh, okay, good.
This really
Ah,
know it.
This is when the monsters in the bed, and then
One more time.
oh shit! I turn all the lights on, and then
more.
I'm
Oh,
downstairs
wow.
waking up mom and dad, like literally, and then
She's gone.
and he too is also falling off the mountainside.
He's gone.
Yeah. man.
So-
your brain works differently, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take anything from this 10-year experience, your brain works differently. There you go.
I will say that that my first musical memory is without a doubt songs that scared me,
Terror.
tied with
Pure
record
terror.
covers that scared me. So
What was your
Wars,
record
Why
cover?
Can't We Be Friends?
Yeah.
Shame on the World by The Main Ingredient, and yes, even I still maintain that Stevie Wonder is drowning in donuts
And
on
can sing.
songs in the key of life. Think of them cookies. Wait,
Okay, now I'm seeing the Key of Life cover. Okay.
Sure you are.
The ones that used to be in the blue tin.
think of the cover of what?
Edmonds?
Shortbread.
All right,
Edmonds?
you're
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder in 1976, and I'm the art director of Motown.
Okay.
No, I'm the art director of Motown.
You're Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm Stevie Wonder. You're the art director of Motown.
Okay.
Okay. I'm
Flip
yeah.
it, reverse it.
Describe
Can I
to
be
me
Sarita?
right.
Oh,
Describe to me the cover of Songs in the Key of Life.
All right, Stevie. We're gonna have you in the center, but it's gonna be like a brown cover.
What is
Well,
it?
use that brown. It's like an earth tone color.
olive.
Nah. Songs in Your Life was like a brownish
okay.
kind of thing. The olive one was well, not it wasn't olive. It was
Journey
greenish.
Through
That
the
was
Secret
Secret
Life
Life
of
of Plants.
Plants.
Right.
I'm
That was Secret Life of
confusing.
Plants. Okay, yeah. All right. So Stevie, all right. So you're gonna be in the
okay.
middle, and it's gonna have like these ridges around you. That okay. I'm gonna feel this cookie. You feel the ridges on the
Oh, the
cookie.
brown. The
Yeah,
brown. Yes.
Like you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be that. I get
Stevie, touch the cookie.
Yeah, that's about the best I could do for Stevie. You know what I mean?
What was his response?
All right. Cool, shit. Yeah, I mean, shit.
Literally, yeah, I would
Really?
routinely take the records I didn't like and hide them in the basement, and subsequently get in trouble when my dad can't find where's my war record, and then I gotta go in the basement and like I would bury that shit under like.
So, were Big Faces, was that a scary thing? Like,
I mean,
Ramsey Lewis Salongo.
Yes, that
the
was.
one-
We didn't own that, but yes, that
That's
would have
another
been
Herbie Hancock and Miles Davis had scary ones too.
Marty Clairwick, who did the Bitches Brew cover and the Herbie Hancock. His scariest one is Buddy Miles' record, where Buddy Miles is turned into a mountain. Like he looks like Jabba the Hutt. That too also was in the scary pile. So,
What was the first record you bought with your own bread?
Oh shit!
all right. So the thing.
Come on, Phonte.
Feels like a one-word answer, but all right, here we
No,
go.
it's
Right.
not. It never
No,
is.
here's the thing. Someone purchased a record for me. Now, when I do interviews, of course, I will just do the safe answer, which is, yeah, I got a Jackson 5 record.
Right.
But the truth is that my first 45 ever was Neil Sedaka's Bad Blood. Because
Oh, wow. Okay.
I judge records. My favorite logo was Elton John's label, the Rocket, MCA Rocket Company.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's like green and it's like a happy train on it or whatever. Maybe I like train, Soul Train, I don't know. But I like the way the logo looked, so I purchased Neil Sedaka and Elton John Bad Blood. Also Rufus's Dance With Me on 45 because
good one.
ABC Records had a dope logo.
Yeah.
I did not like Capitol Records logo. If it was on Capitol, Tavares, Natalie Cole, the Beach Boys, the Beatles, whatever, I
Didn't rock with it.
didn't like it. That's why I didn't recognize half the samples on Tribe Records because I didn't listen to Cannonball Adderley because he had a boring logo. I didn't like any Capitol Records.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
I'm looking at some old footage. Can I change my answers for our favorite show? Cause like, dang, we had Biz
Business great.
and
Too
Cree
short?
Summer was a sleeper. Cree Summer,
Yeah, Creaso, yeah.
and Stephen Hill, sleepers.
Creaso. The Stephen Hill episode, that's that night. in
Oh
general.
God,
It's just-
that which also marks that this episode is also being done
man.
in
right.
the worst timeline.
Oh my
Damn.
God.
Wait, final question. When's the last album you listened all the way through?
Yeah. Okay.
The album after Seat at the Table. Home.
Soon as I get home.
Or Find My Way
when I
Home.
get home. When I think it was When I Get Home.
Solange's album after Seat
Shoot,
at the
I
Table.
forgot. That's what the Brown joint.
that one.
Yeah, Brown.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like I would actively listen to that. I will say for our episodes though,
Oh yeah.
probably the two episodes that made me cry. Matthew Knowles' episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard.
That was a tearjerker for me. And the Ben Vereen episode.
Come on, Kabara. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Ben Vereen episode. That to me, I didn't know that he had that much history.
Yo, and shout outs to one of our listeners who wrote in a review that I didn't know there was an issue with Roots and Alex Haley and plagiarism. I was like,
Oh yeah,
okay, I forgot. I must have forgot about that. Yeah,
that was the thing. Oh yeah.
Like a Coming to America-esque sort of like.
He paid the money.
Well, yeah, he had to.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Yeah. So, a big part of the inspiration of this show was my fandom of the Gordon Gartrell
Radio.
podcast, or Gordon Gartrell Radio, which I guess at the time, was the word podcast even a thing?
It was, but I didn't really know what it was. I mean, it wasn't what it is now. Yeah, man, this had to be 2008, 9, something like that.
So about a year after the iPhone is invented.
Yeah.
In terms of.
So Brainchild, man, DJ Brainchild, that was like, me and him go back to the boards. He was one of the first people to bootleg Little Brother. I just hit him one day, and he's one of my favorite DJs. Me and him would just be on the internet like all night on AIM, like sending each other shit. And so one day I hit him, I said, hey, yo, man, you want to do a podcast? And he was just like, yeah, okay. And we didn't know what we were doing. I just knew,
How'd y'all record it and you're in separate states?
So the way we did it was back then, Bill would put the records together. Like, I'm like, look, man, you select the music. I'll just do my segments, just talking shit for, 15 minutes, whatever. And then we'll just go back and forth. And then at the end, I'll pick a song, And he's like, all right, cool. So he would do his mixes at the crib. And then I would do my recording, my vocal parts at my crib. And I just email it to him. And so then he would put the show together. And then we just put it up. It was a thing that we just started doing. I mean, because this is...
And never in the room at the same time?
Nah, we was straight phone the same style.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's how Phonte rolls. If I can instant message to you, why would I fuck when I show up?
We do that with you in Sesame Street too, right?
Yeah, we do it the
We
same
don't
way.
even know each other. Who?
Who are you, dude? Yeah, man. So that was how we started. And it was just something that I would just do, we would just do for fun. It was just a way to share music that we listened to. And, kind of give, talk pop culture, talk, politics or whatever, just, kind of talk shit. Mm-hmm. But that was how we started. And, we didn't know. It wasn't until, like, I started going out and doing shows and stuff, and people would be like, yo, so when is Gordon Gartrell coming back? I was like, yo, y'all listen to that shit? They like, yeah, that shit helps me get through my workday. So we did that for maybe a couple years, maybe like, 2-3 years, something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Are the episodes like on archives or at least up on YouTube? Or?
Nah, them joints, it's pre all of that. Them episodes is, shit, man. I think Bill may got them still, but
the holder of episodes here.
I think he got them, but yeah,
don't edit that out.
But like, yeah, so we did that, but that was kind of how it started. And so after a couple years, I think, Bill, I think he just didn't want to do that. He was kind of, his relationship with DJing was changing at that time.
Right.
And so a couple years later, so goes the story. I get a call from Sean G. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yo, man, so Ahmir's doing this radio show. And he said, I want you to be the Robin to his Batman. He said, but on the low, I kind of want you to be the Batman.
You better tell the truth.
I said,
that is a Sean G statement. Yes.
I said,
but let's just make them think.
I said,
Jedi mind tricking is the name of the game.
I said, okay, man, whatever, you know what I mean? And had no idea what it was going to be. I was on a plane within a couple weeks. And the week that I got this show, this was the same week that I was working on The Breaks with Dan Charnas and DJ Premier. I was doing music for that.
That's right. Shout out to The Breaks, man.
Yeah, man. Shouts to Dan and Premier, just that whole family. There was also with me and my wife. We were in the process of getting ready to buy our house. And so we were in the middle of that. And that was also, like I mentioned earlier, my dad and my granddad died in the same week.
Damn.
So it was like all of this was happening, and then Sean G calls. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. So had no idea what it was going to be, getting on planes, flying back and forth, from here to North Carolina every, other, couple weeks or whatever. And that was the start of it, man. And Bill was, as Sean G was told me, he said, y'all were trying to find a co-host for the show. And Bill was like, well, what about Phonte? And Sean G, for Ahmir, he was like, oh, man, me and Phonte gonna be arguing all the time. And Sean G was like, that's exactly why we gonna get him. Like, that's why we need to get him. You know what I mean? Right. And so that was how I ended up here. And so I just kind of jumped head first in and was like, all right, fuck it. I don't know what this is going to be, but let's just make it dope. And so I just always tried to make, the theme songs or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just always wanted to make sure that, our shit was always fresh and that we always, was kind of at the forefront and just, it was a fun show to listen to. So that was my start.
So, Laiya, so, my Laiya.
Nothing will ever change.
I don't think that our listeners know the double role that you play on the show.
They call those producers.
Yes. You're a producer of the show, Laiya.
Thank you. Oh my God, I never heard say that sentence before.
Anywho, tell me like what's under the hood. What artist are you allowed to say? Which artist was the hardest to organize to?
Hardest? I mean, it's funny. I wondered, Brittany, do you think Mariah, is that Mariah?
So Mariah had tech issues.
And never on camera, right?
But I will say the artist that we got so close to.
Mariah wasn't on camera?
No, she was in the dark. Yeah. She was on camera in the dark.
Yeah, she was in the dark, yeah.
Remember? We was on Zoom, but we couldn't see her. She was like
in her bedroom or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Aspen. Yes.
As you do.
Aspen, darling.
But the one that we got so close to that me and Phonte definitely flew to New York to record that never happened was Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
That's right. We did have Mary J. Blige.
We had Mary J. Blige, and then on the couple hours before we were to arrive at the studio, they changed their mind or something came up.
Had happened
What had happened was the greatest chase that we have still been doing is probably Queen Latifah. Although I booked her because I don't know if you remember, but I booked on your series on A&E. Got her booked for that, but couldn't get her to come around to Questlove Supreme. But that's all right. And then the biggest blunder, and I'm going to say my biggest blunder ever on this show. Oh my God, y'all. I apologize.
What episode?
There was an episode, and it was a Patti LaBelle episode.
Oh, we have a Patti LaBelle episode.
Thanksgiving. There was a Zoom issue, and I thought we was recording, and we did the whole show, and we only got like 15 minutes. And when I tell y'all, it was so good. It was such a good episode. It was so good.
Damn.
It was so good.
Was there a nightmare organizing person? An assistant, what had happened was
spill the tea.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say nightmare on their side, but I think I can't remember the Will Smith debacle that wasn't his fault, right? That was before.
That's everything. Right. Y'all woke me up in the morning.
You got a new person to work with you off of that.
FaceTime me. Right, that was. Oh, yeah. That's how I.
Wow. A lot of life has happened on this show, y'all.
Oh,
let's talk about it,
man.
Yeah, all I remember was I was asleep in my slumber, and then Will Smith FaceTimed me. I was like, "Why is he FaceTiming me?"
Because we all waiting.
Then I rushed to put my, my clothes on or whatever, and like, hey, what's? And then I saw that I had missed the.
Also, one of our best conversations, because that was post book before everything else happened.
Pre-slap.
Yes. Yeah. And we really we got into it. That was good.
That was a great episode.
But I can't remember somebody who was really hard, difficult. Not really.
Just us. We're difficult.
Just you and your schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I will say, Steve. Is there a bucket list guest that you wish we could have gotten?
Yeah, Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Man.
And Phil Collins, too, right?
And Phil Collins, yeah.
We did get Huey Lewis amongst that.
We did get Huey Lewis.
We got Huey Lewis.
I love Huey Lewis.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
All right. So, but as far as, your bucket list interviews, have you fulfilled the majority of them, at least?
Oh, certainly a lot more than I ever thought I would be a part of.
You have an offspring of the show. You started the Suga Network.
Suga Network.
Shout out to the Suga Network. Yeah. For real. It was sort of just,
Can you explain how this started?
Well, I got the
you were like pre-D Nice with using Instagram live stories as a radio show. You would play complete records and not get caught off or any of those things.
Yeah. So it was really a whole bunch of QLS fans that were watching our lives. At first, we were doing them from 30 Rock. While we were mixing or whatever, we'd start doing live stories. And then once the live stories started to include the ability to bring a guest on, it was kind of the rest of it kind of wrote itself. It was like, we all have our own fucking TV shows now if we want, our own talk shows. So I just turned mine into, a semi-real one. And it went on for, kind of mirrored the timeline of this podcast, but it sort of fizzled out after season 6 or 7.
So what constitutes a season?
How many episodes in a season?
It wasn't like that, but thousands and thousands.
No, the Sugar Network was always on.
Yeah,
Anytime
always.
I went on IG,
Always.
I always see Steve
Did you keep the archives, like after you record, would you save them all?
Well, they get saved anyway, I think,
Okay.
in your archive, whether you delete them or not. But it was kind of the, just an aside project to this, where we would interview the not famous people, the fans, the people that were just watching this show or whatever I was doing on
Shout
the
out to the
network.
Sugar Network that, in addition to that site, fans
Yes,
and
indeed. Yeah.
our collective
Yeah,
fan bases and whatnot.
And we all got to appear on the Sugar
It's a
Network.
household name.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
Yes.
it was fun, but it seems like Instagram live stories seems like it's kind of fizzled out. Like not a lot of people doing lives anymore. It seems like, and there's a modulation coming too, so be careful here.
Oh man.
So, okay, well, we'll close this episode with just asking you. Well, I think what I was trying to lead to was I would like to believe that the Sugar Network also led to another dream of yours, which is starting a label.
Oh.
And
Yes, indeed.
it started out as a vanity label, but now you have a legit jazz label. Like,
Yeah, that's the timeline of the label JMI. Very much mirrors the same timeline as this. Basically started around the same time, and the Sugar Network started slightly after that, I think. But it's been 8 or 9 years. We got 25 records released, which is a good amount for when you're all analog and things take a while and cost a lot. So very proud of that, and definitely inspired by all y'all.
And the records sound awesome, man.
Yeah,
like
Dave,
they sound awesome.
That's the goal. Thank you.
They better sound
That's the goal.
awesome as Steve.
all right, so y'all, yes, we're going to do a part 2. I hate to, end it so abruptly,
Wait,
but
we got to do a tease. All right, coming up in
we're doing
part
it.
2.
All right, do the come up.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
We're
coming
going to answer fan questions in part 2. Yes.
Okay, good. Looking forward to that.
Yes. Wait, that was the big lead up?
I'm sure.
All right. So, anyway, on behalf of Phonte and Unpaid Bill and Laiya and Suga Steve, this is Questo, and we will see you for the official part 2 of the final Questlove Supreme episode.
Well, we'll all get naked.
Yes.
Yes.
Nah, dog.
I mean, give them something to look forward to. You know what I'm saying?
They want to see you, nigga.
Questlove Supreme is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app,